always hate it when you're trying to test out your new shift kit and some guy in a Mustang decides he wants to try to play with you. Before I start this video, I wanted to go ahead and pick our winner for the 10,000 subscriber t-shirt giveaway. I know you guys have been waiting on that. Unfortunately, I had to delay it a week because of some financial difficulties, but here we are. So we're going to go ahead and pick our winner. So real simple, we are going to use TubeBuddy, pick a winner. Pull this up. That was our video that we had the giveaway on, and here we go. There we go. Brent Spence, you are our winner. Brent, if you want to just drop me an email with your name, in case this isn't your real name, but drop me an email with your name and your address and your t-shirt size to thebadluckgarage@gmail.com. I will go ahead and order your t-shirt and get it shipped out to you. Once again, guys, thank you very much for entering the contest. Thank you for subscribing and pushing us over that 10,000 subscriber mark. If you did not win the t-shirt and you still might want a t-shirt, if you want to order one, in the bottom of any video, you can go down here where it says BLG merchandise. Click on that. That will take you to the Bad Luck Garage merchandise store where you can order shirts, hoodies, etc. Also, under every video, we have this merch shelf now. So, it's real quick. You can click on whatever you want, whichever shirt you like, and that will also take you to where you can purchase it in whatever color you want. So, if you want your shirt, you didn't win one this time, but you want one anyway, want to support the channel by ordering one, you can go ahead and do so. And now on to the video. So here we are, guys. We had 50 people on the internet saying it couldn't be done. We had one guy that said it could. I tend to side with the minority because if 50 people say something can't be done, it usually just means that they heard it can't be done. And the one guy who says they did it's usually the guy who actually did it. So here we are. I have taken the passenger side exhaust, the intermediate pipe here that goes between the X-pipe and the over axle exhaust here. I took that one pipe off and you can see the servo right here, and I don't know if you can tell, but like here's the servo, here's the frame, servo frame. So I'm gonna try it, guys. I'm thinking maybe I can get it off one piece at a time. Same scenario is when I did the main shift kit video. I'm not going to be able to hold the camera while I'm doing this, but basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pry bar and stick it in here and try to push this cover in. You don't have to push it in much, just like that. And then I hope you guys can see it, but when I push it in, there's a clip right here, a circlip that goes around the whole thing. I know it's really hard to see here, guys, but I just got to get a screwdriver under that, pop it out. The servo cover will come out so far. Then there's a rubber O-ring around it. We're going to grab our rubber O-ring with this hook, pull down on it, and hopefully pop the cover off and take all the servo parts out. You can see I was able to get the circlip out, pried the cover out a little bit, and reach in with my pick. Now what I'm going to have to do, I got this O-ring here. What I'm going to do is pull down really hard on the O-ring, and what that's going to do is it's going to thin the O-ring out because that's the only thing holding the cover in right now. So I'm going to pull down on the O-ring with my pick like that, and at the same time I'm going to grab a pair of pliers and hopefully pull the cover off. And I have ran into the exact problem I thought I would run into, which is that with the pin on here, like I was able to remove the first two pieces of the servo assembly there. I'll show you that on the bench here in a minute, but I cannot get the rest of the assembly out. The pin is too long, it hits the frame, and it doesn't matter which way I twist it, I can't seem to get the clearance I need to remove it the rest of the way. So what I'm probably gonna have to do, guys, is I'm going to have to pull my little C-clip or circlip here while it's up here in the transmission and take it apart piece by piece. And there you go, guys, it's all out. Kind of goes back to what I'm always saying. You know, a lot of the times on the internet, people will read something, they won't even try it themselves, they just regurgitate what they heard. This is one of those cases. You know, I mean, I must have read 50 people saying that you cannot get this out with the transmission still in the car on these C5s, and here it is, guys. I mean, I just got it out. Now, that being said, I had to pull this clip. I was able to get the cover and these two pieces off, but I had to pull this clip and remove this piece before I was able to you know, to slide the pin out and get it the rest of the way out. So that's going to be kind of an issue, because going back in, I don't know, guys, what's going to happen is I'm going to have to try to compress all this and put this clip on while it's in the vehicle. Can it be done? Sure, but it's probably going to be an aggravating task. But what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to get all these parts cleaned up. I'm going to get the remaining components of our shift kit back out, and I'm going to show you how to put this together, and we'll just call this an amendment to the original shift kit video, since I didn't get to do this in that video. Before I clean the parts, we have to take this apart, and if you look down in here, you're going to see there's just a little C-clip that goes around here, and that's what holds these pieces together. So what you're going to do, and if, like I said, I don't have anybody hold my camera, but you're basically just going to take your screwdriver, stick it in here and pry it up and around, and then you'll be able to take this apart. Just to show you, there's a dimpled edge for you to get your screwdriver in, and then you can see, yeah, you can see how I'm wedging the screwdriver in, and I'm just going to keep pushing the screwdriver around. It's going to pop that circlip out. Once that's out, you pull the cover off, and in my case, like a lot of the times, there'll just be one spring. In my case, I'm guessing because it's a Corvette, it's got two springs in it already. Alright, guys, so we're going to try to put this thing back together now. So we got this guy here. Now, originally, it came with these two springs here in it. Some of them will only have one spring. Mine, I don't know if it's because it's a Corvette or what, but it had two. I actually called Transgo today, asked them a bunch of questions about this kit. This was one of them. I had actually saw in another video online where the guy had stacked the new spring on top of this little spring and put all three of them in. The Transgo rep said do not do that. He said to, if it had two springs, to remove the small middle spring and put their spring in. So this is the blue spring out of the shift kit. So we're just going to put it in the middle of this spring. So with that in there, we're going to take our cover, put it back on here, and then we've got to get our little circlip retainer put back in here. Now this needs to be compressed. If you've got a really strong hand, you might be able to do it. I'm going to use one of these clamps here. I think I got this at Harbor Freight. It's just a wood clamp, guys. We want to clamp this down until we can see our groove. And we're going to take our little clip here. We're going to stick it in one end of the groove to get it started, and just compress it and work it around the groove. Take a screwdriver to try to get this last little bit in. Just make sure it's in there. Oh, there we go. Just making sure it's seated in the groove all the way around. Then release the clamp. There we go. Now I'm going to take some Vaseline and lube my seals up here. Got the big one, and we got our little one here. Our Transgo kit comes with a couple new O-rings. You've got a red O-ring that goes on this guy. Just like that. And the blue O-ring goes on your cover. We're going to take some Vaseline and lube both of these up too. This is just going to make sure the O-ring slides in easy, and you know, we don't cut the O-ring or anything that could cause it to leak. Last but not least, we've got this guy right here. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to put some Vaseline on him to hold all the seals in place. Put a little on the end there and just lube it up. Now here's the thing, as I've already mentioned, I'm probably going to have to put this back in one piece at a time, since I'm not going to have a camera under there to show you that process. I'm going to show you how this all goes together right now. So we've got your second piston right here. This guy right here, your housing, it slides on it with the tabs facing this direction, just like that. Then you've got your pin right here. We're going to lube him up a little bit. He's going to slide through that hole in the center, just like so. This spring that goes on here, this washer that goes on top of the spring. Then you compress it down and you put your E-clip in. And it just snaps in just like that. So that puts this together, and after that you've got this, which is going to slide over this with that valve facing towards the cover, and then your cover is going to go on over this, and your snap ring of course goes in to hold your cover on. Now, shims. The shift kit comes with 2 shims. This is to adjust your band tightness. A lot of people, I've been reading up on this, and a lot of people say you don't need any shims if you have a fresh build. If you've got, you know, a few miles on it, you're going to want to use 1 shim. And if you've got a lot of miles on it, you might need to use 2, but I have yet to see anybody that that said 2 shims was necessary. So here's the thing about these shims, guys. You really can't put this on ahead of time. You've got to kind of get this in the transmission. Then you're going to have to set your shim in there, and then do your cover over the shim, because that shim is spacing the cover out, and it's forcing this whole assembly deeper into the transmission. And that, you know, tightens up your band, or at least tightens up your band clearances. So anyway, you've seen how I done this. Now I'm going to actually have to, I'm going to try to get it in one piece like this, but most likely I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm actually going to have to pull this apart. I'm going to have to set this all in a piece at a time. Oh, and don't forget this spring goes in here on the inside. Sorry guys, I about forgot about that. But I think I'm going to have to put this in like pin first, and then put this on top, and then slide this guy on here, and then, you know, so on and so forth with it in the transmission, because I don't think I have enough clearance to put even this assembly in the transmission. But you've seen how it all goes together now, so I'm going to go stick it in there, and hopefully we'll be back with the test drive. So the shift kit is finally in. We got our servo in, and before we go on the test drive, I just want to kind of talk to you guys and tell you what was going on. So I did test drive it after initially getting the shift kit in, and it did seem to quicken the shifts up a little, but second gear still felt a little mushy. So that's why I went back and decided to try to do the servo. I'm thinking maybe where that band just wasn't grabbing well, that you know, that's what was causing the problem. So what I'm looking for now, I'm going to do a couple short pulls at, you know, light throttle, some at medium throttle, and then a couple at wide open throttle, and see how it shifts. What I'm hoping for is a really firm shift at wide open throttle and just a quick shift at part throttle and mid throttle, so, you know, the wife's still happy with it when she drives it every day. That's pretty much it. Let's try it out. We'll just do a couple little, like, probably 25% throttle shifts and see how I like it. Can't tell any difference, guys. Light throttle, I can tell, almost note that the 1-2 shift seems a little bit quicker, but yeah, it pretty much feels stock on the 1-2 shift. So at, you know, like very light throttle, so I'm gonna go about half throttle and see what that feels like. Oh yeah, yeah, that was nice and crisp, but not crazy or anything. So this Mustang up here revved when he went by, revved at me, so depending on which way he goes, we might have to follow him. Don't you just hate it when you're trying to test out your new shift kit and some guy in a Mustang decides he wants to try to play with you? Anyway, back to the video purpose here. Well, actually, you guys may or may not have saw that, but full throttle upshift is pretty dang crisp. It's not like ripping the tires apart when it shifts, but it is a lot faster and a lot firmer than it was stock. Now again, I'm not spraying any nitrous right now, guys, so the way this transmission acts right now, NA, and the way it's going to act when it's got that extra 175 horsepower and extra 200 plus foot-pounds of torque from the nitrous, you know, it's two different things, but I'm pretty happy with it so far. That was funny. Those kids in that Mustang GT were all excited. Oh, they would have really been excited if I would have had a bottle in here, huh? So anyway, guys, I would have loved to take this thing to English Mountain and go ahead and try it out, but the fact of the matter is I am completely out of nitrous. I have not filled either one of my bottles since we did the little video where we tried to blow up the Camaro. So my goal this week is pretty much going to be to get at least one of those bottles filled, and hopefully next weekend get this thing back up there and shoot for that 6-second pass. But as far as the shift kit goes, guys, I'm really happy with it. Part throttle, you can't even tell I did anything. About half throttle, the shifts are nice and quick and crisp. At full throttle, it doesn't shift super hard, but it shifts firm and it shifts fast. It doesn't feel like the 1-2 shift is being drug out like you saw in the original video where we hit this thing with a 175 shot. So now I can tell it did kind of break loose when it shifted into second at wide open throttle. I don't know if it's, you know, the surface I'm on, or, you know, these tires, these Nitto tires that I put on here, but it didn't chirp the tires, but I did feel it kind of you know, as the back tires slipped a little. At least I hope it was the back tires slipping and not the transmission. But I think we're going to try that 1-2 shift again and see how it downshifts here as well. Oh yeah, that's nice. That downshift is crisp too. Let's do that one more time. Okay, it actually kicked sideways a little bit that time on the 1-2 upshift. Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm liking it, guys. I'm really happy with it. Like I said, it drives just pretty much like, well, it drives exactly like stock when you're just barely giving it gas. When you're at half throttle, it's a little crisper, but not a big deal, guys. Shouldn't affect, you know, the wife driving it in the rain or whatever. And full throttle, it's definitely shifting a lot more firm, a lot more firm. Oh yeah, way more firm. Perfect. All right, guys, well, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna wrap this up, and if you like this video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, share it with a friend. As always, thank you for watching. Now get out in the garage, get something done, and I'll see you next time here on Bad Luck Garage.